where I'd want to start out to get your reaction to the verdict. Obviously, in the guilt phase, it wasn't what you were wanting, but a lot of people think that the sentencing certainly was not as severe as it could have been. What's your reaction? Is this a good outcome or not a good outcome?
No, I think all things considered, it's a good outcome for Amber because whenever you're convicted for murder, you face 5 to 99 years or life by a jury, huge range, and with the publicity this case received, the intensity and the high, hard feelings that were going on. The jury's not oblivious to that at all. They were all from Dallas, so they know all about it. So your fear is they're going to obviously give the client a severe penalty. So all things considered, I thought it was a very good sentence, a lower sentence. So we were very appreciative of that.
Is it difficult for you to get up and give a closing argument in the punishment phase to the same jury that convicted your client?
It is, and it has to be done very delicately. And my goal was to do a very calm argument to show them each case is unique and that Amber Guyger was not the evil person that she was portrayed to be by the prosecution, that she's a good person. And this is just one bad moment in her life.
On that note, you had asked in your second closing, look at the whole picture. I believe those may have been your exact words. Don't look at isolated text conversations or anything along those lines to make the decision. Do you think the 10-year sentence, the jury followed that request from you?
Well, I hope so. I mean, we don't know what the jurors deliberate on exactly unless they tell us. But I think I got some positive feedback from some of the jurors, and, it's a collective decision. So I think at least I hopefully gave them some ideas. But, it's usually lawyers find that the jurors are thinking a lot of the same things. But you never know. You just got to give it your best shot.
How's Amber Guyger doing?
She's doing as well as could be expected. Amber's a very positive person, and so I just came to see her. Robert Rogers and I just went to see her, and she's trying to be positive, trying to deal with the situation.
Are you worried about her in prison? I ask that because you made the obvious point in your closing argument. I believe your words were, "This is a cop who's going to prison." That doesn't mix well.
No. Generally, it's not. Of course, I'm worried, but I'm hoping that the TDCJ officials, they faced this situation before, so I'm sure they take precautions, but you never know what could happen, and her case has received such high notoriety, you never know what may happen.
The obvious question, are you planning to appeal?
That's all under consideration. There's some facts. It's about a 30-day window that defendant has to make a decision in the end, so that's all on the table, but we just don't know yet, and we'll be looking at things and talking with Amber, and then she'll make the final decision.
How long do you have on that?
From yesterday, like 30 days to file the final notice of appeal. You can file preliminary paperwork if you wish, and then you can withdraw that. A lot of defendants like that done first, just in case. But it gives us about 30 days to review the evidence, do a little research to see if there's, what the chances are, and if you want to go take a course of action to go down that road.
Is the risk with appealing a possibility of having a new trial that then results in another guilty conviction and then an even stiffer sentence?
That could happen. It depends on what issues you appeal. If you appeal direct, you are contesting the judge's decision to keep out evidence or let certain evidence in to try to get the case reversed. If the case was reversed on those grounds, then you'd start at ground one, and yes, she'd be open to a full range of punishment again. If the appeal is on sufficiency of the evidence, change of venue reasons, then if you won, it's directed. I mean, the case goes away. There's not a case of sufficiency of evidence. Those are very hard to win. But so the answer, I think, is yes on most cases.
Then the last thing I wanted to focus on, you had yesterday a front row seat to something that has gone viral across the United States and even in other countries. Brant John asking to hug your defendant. They did embrace, quite lengthy, and Judge Kemp, obviously, she allowed that. What was going through your mind during that?
It was the most amazing thing I've experienced in a courtroom, to tell you the truth. I mean, I couldn't believe it was happening. I told her, at first we didn't believe there'd be any more, or would be a victim impact statement. And then the prosecutor said, yeah, we'll have one. And we explained to her, we just sit quiet. Usually it's a family member venting, just, have the proper dignity, and then we'll be done. And then Brant got up there, and immediately it was something completely different. He started forgiving her, telling me how much he loved her as a Christian, and she started shaking. And then when he said he wanted to hug her, there was that pause. You couldn't hear this part. I don't think the cameras were on her, but she started nodding her head vigorously up and down, saying yes, 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 yes. And when the judge said yes, she jumped up and ran to him.
Was Judge Kemp wanting to gauge, because the camera wasn't on her, was Judge Kemp wanting to gauge Guyger so it wasn't just forcing your client to do something?
No, maybe that, and I think Judge Kemp was, you're not supposed to hug a defendant and touch, so that's not according to protocol, and she doesn't want her bailiffs to get in trouble. So she had to make the decision, and I think she made a good decision.
And then Judge Kemp also, and I know she's already kind of coming under the microscope on her decision to also embrace her and give her a Bible. Do you think that that's something that people need to get over, or was that something that was just as wonderful?
It's just as wonderful. She came down, and she came over to tell Amber that she needed to forgive herself to start healing. And Amber started crying more, and Amber asked her if she could hug her. So that wasn't Judge Kemp asking, it was Amber said, I want to hug you, and she said, well, okay. Well, how could I refuse that? And Amber told her, I don't have a Bible, and she said, I'm going to go get you my Bible. So I don't understand anyone that would have negative views of what Judge Kemp did. It was all positive. You want a judge who can, has that kind of heart. So I thought it was a great gesture on her part.
Were you able to hear, or did Amber share with you the private conversation that she had with Brant John during that embrace?
I was unable to hear. I could hear them whispering and talking to each other, and I didn't ask her because I figured that was a private moment.
You had argued, the defense had argued early on that you wanted a change of venue. You wanted to be out of Dallas County. Do you think now that this is all said and done, Amber Guyger received a fair trial?
Yeah, I think with the jury we got, all things considered, it came out well. But the panel, I feel, was hostile towards Amber Guyger, very hostile. But we were able to get 12 who were the best out of that panel, and they seemed very fair and open-minded. You never know in the end, but certainly the outcome reflects that they listened to us, so we were very appreciative of them.
Do you feel that they, regardless of any minds that had been made up prior to them going in to deliberate, that they were engaging with you and they were focusing on you and all the attorneys during both sets of closing arguments?
Yes, I think so. Especially in guilt innocence, they seemed very attentive. They were very attentive throughout the trial, and you never know what a person's thinking, but they certainly were respectful from all the attorneys during the first part of the trial. In the punishment phase. Was
this one of the more challenging cases that you've had to present, I guess now as a defense attorney, in your professional career?
Without a doubt. Never encountered a case or seen a case with this much negative publicity day after day, and the feelings of the public running so high. It's very difficult. Just everything that's going on in this country, and this case became the magnet for it. And this really wasn't that type of case, but that's how things took it over. So we just had to deal with it. And it was the most difficult case I've had to defend.